Hello, we're the Nostalgia Critics. We remember Doug, so you don't have to remember Doug. And this is season 12. We're coming full circle. This is where about the Christmas part of this season is when we decided to do this.
Well, it was all the stuff surrounding the wall and then the Christmas stuff that led to this series' creation. So
yeah, it kind of started as a joke after the wall happened, and then we watched the Tim Allen Santa Claus episode and decided to do this. So let's get into it. Aiden, what is our top movie?
Number one is The Pest. The Pest, Doug cuts out all the best clips of The Pest and talks about how unfunny they are when they're actually hilarious.
It's like we're leapfrogging from one insulted ethnicity to another.
Do you know what day it is today?
Sean Connery's birthday?
Sean Connery's birthday!
It's pretty bad when they're thinking maybe we should call Michael Bay to make things more PC.
You know, there's the song at the start, the shower scene, the part where he impersonates an Asian man. It's all really racist and fucked up and awkwardly hilarious in its own way.
In fairness, while this movie has some Freddy Got Fingered funny moments where they're so dumb it's funny, I will admit Doug got a couple laughs out of me in this one, which is very rare for Doug. I mean, it is low-hanging fruit, but it's Ninja Turtles Christmas style, where there's easy jokes to be made and he somewhat comes through with it. So, the next one we have is Man on the Moon is Bad, Here's Why. Doug talks about Man on the Moon, which is that Jim Carrey biopic of Andy Kaufman. And it's just a decent analysis. Not too much cringe in there, which is kind of surprising. And it's fine. It's a fine review.
Number three, if you want to know how this season went for us, number three is The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones.
Yes, it is.
The part that got me was the Flintstones getting sent back in time at the end because the writers ran out of ideas, and even Doug was able to capitalize on that and get a laugh out of me.
Spacely gives the Flintstones one of the cars, and as soon as they sit in it, they start going back in time. Explain.
They must have absorbed some of the time machine quadro potion.
Explain!
That old car just wants to go home as much as they do.
Both of those are awful. Explain it correctly. It looks like the writers had a deadline, and this is for 5-year-olds, so who cares? Finally, something that makes sense.
It also happens to be one of, if not the shortest episodes of the season, at like 15 minutes long, which really helps.
Alright, next up we have Barney's Great Adventure. This is one of the Doug episodes I saw previously. It's pretty low-hanging fruit. He starts back on the pedophile jokes, which is pretty easy to do with Barney.
Yeah.
I think I laughed like twice, but you know, it was mostly fine. It was kind of low-hanging fruit, similar to like Ninja Turtle Christmas from a couple seasons ago, so yeah.
Number five is The Most Insane Christmas Rom-Com. He talks about the film A Holiday in Handcuffs. It's a movie about a guy who gets kidnapped and then falls in love with the girl who kidnapped him. It's very low-hanging fruit. It's Doug's niche, going after things that are completely and obviously terrible.
Next we have That Darn Cat. This is a bizarre film review because
Yes.
Doug talks through his cat.
Time to go enjoy the beautiful day. Oh boy, the wall is still blue. Good job, wall. I'm Chaplin. You know what else is blue? Toffee Flakes. I'm gonna go look at a box of it right now because I'm Chaplin.
And Cinema Snob voices his cat.
I told you never to call me between the times of now or ever.
I'm sorry, Lloyd, but it's an emergency.
And then there's Tamara's cat there too.
Which one is voiced by Tamara and one's voiced by Malcolm?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Cat code?
Oh, baby. How does he not know the cat code?
Being himself is his own cross to bear.
Wendy, baby, tell Chaplin the cat code.
Do nothing and the world will fix itself.
Just sit back, catch some Z's, and the humans will do everything for you.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I'm Wendy.
Wow. Well, I'm Chaplin.
I'm Wendy.
I'm Chaplin.
I'm Wendy.
I'm Chaplin.
Ugh, I need a break from all this.
Should we partake in the day's 96th nap? think? Oh. And they say we cats can't be entertaining. I'm asleep now.
And then for some reason at the end, the Super Mario Brothers show up. I don't know why.
Alright, tell me what makes Toffee Flakes so delicious.
Mario, don't you think he's had enough?
Get your hands off me, meatball. Get him off!
Oh, of course, the Mario Brothers.
How is that of course?
Then they shill Cinema Snob's movie, and it's some weird shill for the Cinema Snob movie, I guess, but it's just bizarre. Also, this is random, but I didn't realize the Cinema Snob filmed at Nostalgia Critic headquarters. That was bizarre. That was a bizarre finding from some episode, but it was mostly just on top. It was one of those so bad it's good Doug episodes. Like, it was literally horrible, but I was laughing my ass off because I was confused the whole time, especially when the Mario Brothers showed up. So.
When the Mario Brothers show up and get murdered by Cinema Snob and Doug, it's something. Number 7 is the history of the M&M characters. It's a decently well-researched video about the M&M characters. I don't know why. At least it's not just another recounting of a plot episode.
And I don't mean that in any type of mean way, but it is a very strange episode. Best Friends is the next one. Greg Sestero from The Room plays Tommy Wiseau because this is some sort of movie that stars Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau. Should we voice over Curtis for this review and have him say a line? It was pretty alright. Greg Sestero does a good voice for Tommy Wiseau.
Okay, quiet. Look, I have a gift for you, football.
Known him forever, but if you want to read the Disaster Artist book, or listen to the audiobook read by Greg Sestero, it's a pretty enjoyable time. It's only like a 6-hour audiobook, so you can get that on Audible. This isn't a promoted thing because we have no subscribers, so I'm an Audible by Amazon pay us. But yeah, that's throwing that out there.
Number 9 is Blade 2. Blade 2 is directed by Guillermo del Toro, and the concept of the review is that everyone sucks off Guillermo del Toro for everything, which is an okay concept, but then at the end some guy with black hair shows up and I don't know who it's supposed to be. There's no introduction, he doesn't appear prior in the episode, he just shows up and he's like, I make weird movies just like you, Guillermo del Toro.
What is your next project?
Well, it's about an outcast who's constantly shit on and a bunch of weird stuff happens to.
Now that is an amazing coincidence. Because mine is about outcasts who constantly get shit on and amazingly weird stuff happens to.
Oh, really?
No, maybe not.
Do any of the characters wear black?
Do you even need to ask? Hey, y'all doing okay?
Oh, it's wonderful. Once they realized that they're just trying to rip off every monster movie ever made, they became best friends.
And then everyone just like, there's just like this assumption in the air that you're supposed to realize who this character is. I don't know if it's a character from some previous Doug video. It wasn't, because it wasn't played by the Zack Snyder guy, it was played by Doug. I thought at first it was supposed to be like
Michael Bay.
Tim Burton? No, Michael Bay. Tim Burton. I don't know. It's some black-haired guy, but I don't think it was Tim Burton either. I don't know. I have no idea who it was supposed to be.
Nostalgia Critic Wiki. We need to annotate that for us in the comments. Max Payne. It's too long, but not terrible. I guess it was long though.
Number 11 is X-Men. Doug, as he does, nitpicks the X-Men movie apart, but then at the end he kind of heel turns and he's like, well, honestly, it was kind of the first superhero movie that people took kind of seriously, so it was a big step in superhero cinema, as he does. For some reason this episode, I think, was shot in 60 FPS, which makes it look really fucking creepy.
Looks buttery.
Let's go back to the year 2000 when people really knew how to do comic book movies. This is X-Men.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to use YouTube Downloader to download it at 60 FPS, but if you check it out, it's really like buttery and weird. I don't know why he did that.
Next we have Demon Knight, which is like a Tales from the Crypt movie. Doug reviewed a good movie and just shit on it the whole time. So there you go.
Number 13 is RoboCop 2014. The Malcolm Call joke that was made in the Max Payne video gets paid off, which is an impressive amount of work for Doug. And it's revealed that he's the 2014 RoboCop movie.
Hey, come on, there is still potential.
Well, critically you weren't that big a hit, and domestically you made only a little over half your money back.
But 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's almost half. And I did good on a worldwide release, just like Alien 3 and Warcraft.
Those are the examples you went with.
Come on, just think of the Ghostbuster reboot.
It tanked.
Total Recall reboot.
Tanked.
Fantastic Four, Lone Ranger, that Tom Cruise mummy movie.
This is embarrassing for you.
Oh God, how did things go so wrong?
The skits are kind of bad, and the entire review just boils down to Doug calling the movie unmemorable for 30 minutes. I don't know why he talked about it.
I remember Malcolm being RoboCop was kind of cringe. Next we have Donnie Darko. Doug correctly calls Donnie Darko kind of clunky and overrated, but the video's long and boring, so there you go.
Number 15, Frozen.
Number 16, The Lion King. You know, at least he likes it. He just talks about the cartoon version of The Lion King.
Number 17 is Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. It's a pretty whatever video. It is the one that started this whole series though, so special shout out to Santa Claus 3.
Yep. Justice League. The Cinema Snobs, Cinema Sins, and Doug talk about Justice League. For some reason, you know, AVGN shows up a little bit as like clip art because they couldn't get him out, but they're like, he also has cinema in his name, so he shows up and he's like Superman. And they talk about how funny they thought The Flash was the first time, but they were all looking for something good. And they're like, everybody liked The Flash the first time they saw it. It's like, no. No one with the right mind. And then they were like playing the fucking clips of The Flash saying like brunch and shit. I'm like, maybe I like it less, but I never liked The Flash in that movie. Anyways.
Number 19 is Underworlds. It's boring.
Number 20 is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Doug recounts the plot of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Number 21 is Planet of the Commercials. Michael Salvatore, who made the music for most of the Halo games, appears in this episode. He apparently made the Flintstones vitamin jingle in the 90s. And the joke is that Doug thinks he's boring and annoying, and then at the end he realizes that he's Michael Salvatore, and he's like, wait, I actually want to talk to you about Halo.
No, the
and then he's gone, and there's a evil panda and an evil monkey.
He makes a bunch of pedophile jokes.
As every commercial episode goes, Doug somehow always turns to pedophilia and bestiality.
It's because he only knows sex jokes, and he comes to these children things, and
yeah,
it's
like these
lightsaber
lightsaber
I like to hug
toys.
the teddy bear, and he's like, he has like a 14-inch little kid weed.
These lightsabers look like giant condoms.
They look nothing like condoms. Anyways, Aladdin 2019. Doug complains that Aladdin 2019 is bad, despite what everyone says, which nobody says Aladdin 2019 is good. I've never heard that take. But Doug says that the movie would be better if it was a 5-hour dancing Bollywood movie. Well, he says it should be a Bollywood movie, so 5 hours of people dancing around in front of sets. Doug apparently would like that movie.
Number 23, to start off the X-Men block, is X-Men Origins Wolverine. The only joke that's in this video is it's revealed that Wolverine's name is Jimmy. And so through the entire review, he calls the movie X-Men Origins Jimmy.
We see a young Logan as we discover his original name is Jimmy. So wait, Jimmy?
We're brothers, Jimmy. You realize that?
God, I so wish they retitled this now.
And that's the joke the whole time.
X-Men The Last Stand was fucking boring. He calls it a jumbled mess, but says he still likes it because it's fucking Doug, of course he does.
Number 25 is X2, X-Men United. Doug sings a little bit.
Won't be surpassed. They put Mozart to a blue font. It's surprisingly damn good art.
And as always, these theme months where he does the same thing for 5-6 episodes in a row are kind of horrible to sit through because they get repetitive. They'd get repetitive even if we were watching them a week apart, but watching them all in a row is just not fun.
Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief is a boring video where Doug Has Harry Potter, Neo, Jubilee go in a room and learn how to be boring protagonists who are the chosen one for no reason.
Name! Franchise!
Neo, The Matrix.
Jubilee, X-Men.
Aragon, The Inheritance Cycle.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Oh, we like saying our names twice, Stutter Potter?
No, sir.
Right.
Except Jubilee isn't the chosen one, and he calls Jubilee out on that, but then they do shit.
Yep.
It's a pretty shitty framing device, and the video where when he actually bothers to review the movie, it's boring shit of him recounting the plot, like always.
Number 27 is Constantine.
Tom and Jerry meet the Wizard of Oz. The movie looks boring. Doug recounts the plot.
Number 29 is Mulan 2. I think Doug has either some weird feminism or anti-feminism message in this one, where like the whole movie's about weddings and he's mad at it. I'm not sure which side he's on. I couldn't figure it out because it's Doug. He just kind of incomprehensibly screams, but that's the video. Thank you, Curtis.
He's trying to figure out how to get into the video.
Which one is this?
It's the road chip.
Oh, right.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, the road chip. I feel nothing about this review. He recounts the plot. That's it.
31, The Grinch, 2018.
He bitches.
Nothing. He
bitches about how it's not the original.
Yep.
Alien 3, no comment.
Number 33 is Movie 43. He recounts the plot of every single segment individually and says they're not funny.
Top 11 funniest Siskel and Ebert moments. It's boring to watch a reviewer review other people's reviews. What the fuck gave him that idea? That's fucking boring and stupid. And if only Doug would come up with such a stupid fucking idea.
A few of the Siskel and Ebert clips are funny, but the video itself is like 45 minutes long of Doug saying, "This is a funny clip."
Reviewing other reviewers is so stupid.
Yeah, who the fuck would do that?
And showing like their clips that is funny or something.
It's just like, what kind of asshole?
What kind of fucking asshole thinks like, oh, I'm just gonna review some other reviewers' reviews, like every review that they've ever done. 35 is why do Disney remakes keep making money? Doug is basically like, it's safe and familiar and blah blah blah. He's wrong. It's China. It's just China. We didn't need a whole video for this. It's China. You could have just put the word China on a black screen, ended the video. Next is when did Marvel villains get good? This is a take that 100 million people were having around this time because everyone's like, Thanos is actually a really good villain. Yeah, Josh Brolin gave a good performance, but otherwise he was just a Marvel villain. Let's be real here. But this is the take everybody had in like early 2019, late 2018, so let's not be surprised he made the video. Number 37 is Die Hard. Doug is that guy at every Christmas party who wears a fedora, and whenever people talk about Christmas, he's like, Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie. So Doug's grandma comes up to him, so what did you do this Christmas? He has like 4 Reddit pins on his hat and a Rick and Morty pin. He's like, Die Hard is the only Christmas movie worth anything because Jesus isn't real. His cousin comes up and is like, so what did you think of the old football game? And then Doug tips his fedora and says, did you know Die Hard's a Christmas movie? Then he does his little Doug smile. He basically recounts the plot, but he has a counter for Christmas references. But in the middle of his own video, where his only goal is to count Christmas references in Die Hard, he blatantly misses one where he talks about how John McClane writes, now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho, on a guy's sweater.
I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Message continued on OS.
And Doug just blatantly misses that one and moves on, so his counter's off for like 2/3 of the video. Stuart Little. Yeah, he recounts the plot of Stuart Little. No thanks, bro. Number 39 is Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. I don't think Doug has ever played a Final Fantasy game, so I don't know why he's talking about the horrific movie. Rubbing your feet together. I don't know why he's talking about the horrific movie when I highly doubt he's ever touched a Final Fantasy game. Can I point out that that video is like 35 to 40 minutes long, so it's very long. It took a long time for him to recount that plot. Next he did the Kim Possible live action. Who fucking cares is what we wrote in the notes, which is true, but it also created the running live action Kim Possible gag,
which, as Doug admitted, he's new to finding Kim Possible, so why the fuck does he care enough to talk about how shitty she is in this adaptation? I mean, I guess I understand if he became a fan of the show, but then Kim Possible also becomes an annoying recurring character, so it's, yeah.
Number 41 is The Country Bears. Doug claims that the movie is some ironically so bad it's good masterpiece, when in reality it looks
boring,
miserable and boring.
And then the video also, by result, was miserable and boring, so what a weird coincidence. Next is Hannibal. Long, boring. He made foot and fart jokes. It was long and miserable, and Doug made a bunch of fart and foot jokes.
Number 43 is the... Oh, we should have put movie 43 as number 43. Too late.
Who cares?
Number 43 is The Black Cauldron. He has this annoying framing device where it's like a convention for 80s cartoon movie characters that people hate.
Thanks, everybody. I just hope this brings awareness to the dangers of clown firemen and also Peter Lorre sounding lamps.
Like sidekick characters, and he has all his friends dress up like the cartoon characters and act annoying on purpose. So that's pretty terrible. And pretty much the entire review, The Black Cauldron has like this little dog sidekick character named Gertie, and pretty much the whole review is just Doug saying how much he wants to like smash Gertie's head in with a pipe.
Next is Hop. At one point, Doug says Hop. Something bad, Hop.
No, it's like a running thing through the video. He's like, Hop.
Something bad.
It's a movie where a kid eats a jelly bean that's actually poopy. Hop.
Hop! It's like the ice storm, only somehow more depressing.
I remember
and he does that like 17 times throughout the video.
Malcolm is Black Willy Wonka and Carrot Juice from Beat. Basically it's this running joke that Beetlejuice is like carrot juice because bunnies eat carrots and Easter bunnies, and the movie's Hop. And he talks about how it's good that Easter finally has movies, but this doesn't hold up to Easter or something.
Number 45 is Balto 2 Wolf Quest. It's boring.
Next is X-Men the Animated Series with the creators. He talks about X-Men the Animated Series with the creators. It was really fucking boring. It was 40 minutes long, and he just is like, so what do you think about the X-Men? And they're like, we like the X-Men. They're like, who's your favorite character on the X-Men? And they're like, the Cyclops.
And they try to shill some book they wrote for
basically
10 minutes at the end.
Well, you know what it is. Every time it's an interview with Doug, it's because they have something to shill.
Number 47 is Venom. Doug is that guy who whines about comic accuracy. There's this gimmick in the episode where Malcolm is a voice in Doug's head.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it? Ow! What the hell?
Do not be alarmed. I have taken over your body.
Oh, this is because I'm reviewing Venom, isn't it?
Yes, I want you to talk about...
How it could have been a better movie if it just dived into the torture personality that the original source material gave us?
In so many words.
Well, I was gonna do that anyway, so I don't need any Simpson oats.
Symbiotes, you idiot.
Taking over my body, so piss off!
But Critic, you have to understand what Venom could have been.
Like in Venom.
Makes him hit himself.
And the whole thing is, Doug is like, I think the movie's pretty fun and cool, and then Malcolm's voice comes in and he's like, it's not comic accurate, so it's poopy. Didn't you know Venom is a very well-written psychological character who hit a kid with his car?
With a car, and he committed suicide. His girlfriend committed suicide. Why didn't they put all this in the movie?
And
it's like, dude, it's a fucking hour and 45-minute movie.
Then like really shitty cutouts of Venom and She-Venom show up, and they're like badly...
Keep in mind, we are hungry.
Cut out and limb puppeted around.
It's disgusting.
And then the last 5 minutes of the review, Malcolm's like, did you know Upgrade is actually the real Venom movie? Which Upgrade's a really good movie, but it's a really weird thing to do in a Venom
weird
review.
Comparison. When Venom's actually a fairly true to the character. I mean, it's truer to the character of Venom than any of the Spider-Man movies have been to Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's
none of them have got
trashy and dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's trashy, it's dumb, but that's pretty much what Venom is. Even in the comics, he's trashy and dumb, bro. There's never been a Venom that's high art, and the whole time they're complaining like, oh, this should be so high art.
Should be a psychological thriller.
I mean, if you're a fan, this is nothing against somebody who's a fan of Venom. I think Venom's kind of cool. He's never been my thing to read because I've it's just edgy action. But Venom's not B. I'm sorry. Also, he keeps saying like, "Oh, if this was R, there could be cooler action." It's like, the reason they don't have his girlfriend committing suicide and him running over children and shit is because they actually want to make money on the damn movie. That's why it's not R. But yeah, next is It Chapter 2. Because the Joker was popular, Joaquin Phoenix Joker shows up repeatedly.
Hey, just so you know, we'll be filming in 5 minutes.
Oh, Critic, one more thing.
Yeah?
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
No.
Because Doug loves the Joker. Doug has always had some weird fascination with the Joker.
Yep.
In his videos from 2008 to like 2012, he never shut up about fucking Heath Ledger's. And right when that goes away, Jared Leto happens, so they're dressing up as Jared Leto Joker. And this motherfucker's just obsessed with the Joker. So of course Joker has to show up here and learn how to be a scary clown like the other Jokers, because they're like the It clowns, because I guess, but then the joke is that they're silly, and it's a boring review of It, but they reenact all the parts, and it's really unfunny, and it's really cringy, and like Doug's reenactments, it specifically hinges on you having seen the movie, because he's like, next, these kids go there. And then the kids are like, why do I look like this? Or why do I look different from my character? I'm like, well, I don't see the visual example. I haven't seen It Chapter 2 because I didn't give a fuck enough to watch it. So I guess I just don't deserve to get the jokes because I didn't watch the fucking movie before the review. Which, what's the point in reviewing something? Yes, I'll review stuff. I'll review stuff that obviously, like, you might not have seen or you're likely to have seen. But the point is to recommend a movie. If your review can't recommend or dissuade from a movie, then what's the point? That's why these reenactment reviews don't work. Because if someone watches a review of a movie I do, I try to make it so that if you choose to watch it or choose not to watch it, you're going to at least understand with context what you're getting into. I'm not going to be like, and it was dumb when this happened, or be like, why did this kid look nothing like the old version and not show an example? Like, that's fucking stupid. But anyways, whatever.
These next three all share a spot as number 49. So keep that in mind. All of these are on the same awful level as each other.
They're all uniquely awful, though.
They are all uniquely awful. So, the first of the number 49 trilogy,
the runners up,
is Mary Poppins Returns, which is a video where the new Mary Poppins shows up, and because Disney owns the Avengers, the new Mary Poppins is a Disney corporate shill version of Thanos, who Thanos snaps away all the good original versions for shitty live-action remakes.
Powerful enough to steal from Star Wars?
We own Star Wars.
Oh, very impressive.
Hey, we don't care how much you own. You can't recapture the magic of dancing chimney sweeps,
tea parties on ceilings,
and snapping to get a job well done.
Oh, well now in Disney, when you snap your fingers, something very different happens.
No, don't do it!
And then at the end, the old Mary Poppins, who I guess is like the Iron Man of the story.
Or the Nick Fury or something.
I don't know. They reenact Avengers Endgame, where the live-action characters are all dressed up versions of like Malcolm and Tamara, and then there's like really shitty MS Paint cartoon versions of
the
original characters, and they have a big shitty fight.
Mary Poppins! The original Mary Poppins!
Oh yes, your passion and remembrance brought us all back.
Us? Dumbo! Lion King! Genie! Oh my god! All the originals are back!
Originals?
You ain't never felt pain like this.
Okay.
Chim chim chiroo, bitch.
Oh, Waldo.
And the thing is, they're like over the top action and over the top things without emotion is stupid. So
Yeah,
to illustrate this, we're gonna get in an Avengers rip-off fight in my warehouse.
He's talking about how much of a soulless cash grab Mary Poppins is by referencing Marvel movies.
Yes, by making it seem like they're the Avengers, top-grossing movie of all time, holding 78,000 movie stars put together in the big fight porn movie, and that's your example of not selling out and making good classic cinema. Magnificently ironic. Magnificently ironic how little that was thought through. Next we have his Toonami retrospective. Of course, a lot of Dragon Ball in this one, so of course Doug has to shill over 9,000, like 10,000 times.
Yeah,
now keep in mind,
memes.
this season is from 2019, not 2009. And he makes tons of dated memes.
Over 9,000 jokes everywhere.
Doug and his cronies talk about anime. There's a lot of cringe takes. He did a bunch of random non-Toonami shows like Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Ben 10. Look, I don't know the block super well, but those were cartoon original shows. I don't know if they threw them on Toonami a bit, but those were Cartoon Network shows. They weren't Toonami. But then the rest were like animes that were brought overseas, which kind of makes more sense in the context. But Doug skipped Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he hates, presumably he just hates Yu-Gi-Oh! For the same reasons he hates Pokemon.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Comes on and then he says, let's just skip this, and it goes to the commercial.
Yeah, and he doesn't even mention Pokemon, even though he mentions goddamn Ben 10 Alien Force, and then at the end Doug says, maybe it was a little beyond my time, but it made me love cartoons, anime, because of Toonami. I love it. You just basically said at the start you never watched Toonami except like twice, and now you're talking about how much you love anime because of Toonami. And his cronies are just not very good presenters, but they just have the same like Doug written scripts, so it's just...
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
Cringe.
Malcolm dresses up as Toonami Tom.
Hamtaro, oh yeah.
The Hamtaro thing where they're like, Hamtaro's the greatest show ever.
Well,
and Doug's like, isn't this a show for sissy little girls? And they're like, we will kill you over Hamtaro.
And they're all like, they're all dressed in costumes. There's a part where like this girl shows up and starts talking about Jackie Chan Adventures, which I actually remember seeing Jackie Chan Adventures on Kids WB. I don't know if that was on Toonami.
There's no way.
Maybe it showed up on there as
maybe it was
reruns, but that was
maybe it was on Toonami in like fucking East Africa. I don't fucking know, but I don't think so. It aired on goddamn Kids WB.
I remember as a kid specifically watching it on Kids WB.
And the Toonami video is the longest of the season at slightly over an hour.
Out of all the Ben 10 shows, the one they decided to talk about is Ben 10 Alien Force, a show that didn't even show up on Toonami. At least talk about the original Ben 10. But they talk about Ben 10 Alien Force. It was awful. It was a horrible mess, and they're all cosplaying, and it's just cringe. I'm not even an anime fan, and I feel secondhand embarrassment for anime fans.
Yep. So the third video tied in this little trilogy is, did Joker imagine Batman? It's a video essay, which is really rare this season. I think this is the only one.
No, there's like the Marvel villain one too.
It's one of very few.
Oh, well,
it's one of very few.
It's getting ominous for the next... These two are the worst.
Doug has this terrible theory where, like, because in The Killing Joke, Joker says that he just made up his backstory.
You can't even explain it because it makes no sense.
Joker says he made up his backstory in The Killing Joke, and Doug...
Well, he imagines... He also, in the Joker, imagined his girlfriend.
Yes, in Joker, he imagines his girlfriend. So Doug takes this as a sign that all the Jokers and all the DC universe is in Joker's head, and he made it all
Batman and his rogues gallery, but everything else in the DC universe is real.
If that's the case, then everything has to be fake, because Batman's tied into
It's
every
all
single
in
event.
Everything that ever has been published by DC, any of the comics, any
It's
of the
all
movies,
part of Joker 2019, Joaquin Phoenix Joker's imagination.
Right, because he is the same dad as Bruce Wayne.
Yes, and he made up his girlfriend, and that means that they're all interconnected, and this is intentional by DC, nod, because one version of the Joker said he made up his backstory, so every single one is just...
This may sound incomprehensible, but that's because the
video's
videos,
incomprehensible.
literally every line, I want to transcribe that line, and honestly, so I can see what Doug's original script is, and read through it, and just see what it says, because honestly, half the time he'll be like, and the Joker's a crazy man, so he might not understand. One day he might feel like Jared Leto's Joker, the next day he might feel like Heath Ledger's, or even the Killing Joke, and that's okay. Because the Joker is a character who's existed since the 1940s, and there's a lot of different versions, but in this version, we have a fantastic movie. It's a classic, and I'll think about forever. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
His other thing is, he's like, what if none of the movie happened, and he imagined all of it? But like, if that was the case, why would they only go to their way to show that the girl was fake, if everything was fake? Like...
And why does he not have any delusions of Batman if it's made up? Like, if he had delusions of Batman within the movie...
He had delusions later, off screen.
He had delusions off screen that the Batman existed, but the Batman doesn't exist. And all of the Batmans are in his head, and he's like, in similar things, you have movies where it implies and shows where through like the multiverse there's multiple versions, or they mention different versions, like in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But in this version, every Joker is just in Todd Phillips of the Hangover director's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker's head, because he dances for too long. And it's like, bro, I honestly believe Doug was smoking a crack pipe. He's like, we have an hour to get out. Like this Joker thing, it's going crazy. I'm looking around, I'm seeing million view videos. We have to really come up with something. They're like, what if the Batman was in the Joker's head the whole time? And they're like, no one along the line said, hey Doug, Batman's not in this movie. There's no inference of Batman. There's nothing that really infers this aside from the girlfriend thing. And they're like, yeah, but the Joker has a million origins and it's always different. And it's like, it also has to stem completely on the fact that either the DC universe doesn't exist, or Joker is so next level that he imagines millions of DC continuities and millions of comics. The fucking cereal box Kellogg's, those KFC comics they used to do, like where Colonel Sanders and Batman
team up, and
yeah, those were all in the Joker's head. He had the vision. Todd Phillips' Joker would be sitting there. It's an amazingly stupid video.
He wrote out like hundreds of episodes of the DC animated universe and scripted them and made fake writers who had their own real lives that lived out in his head.
Yep.
He has literally billions
Dude, it's
of
so
lives in his
meta.
head.
It's so meta that even the video that Doug made is in the Joker's head. It's all the Joker. We're all just a figment of Todd Phillips' Joker's imagination. Yeah, Doug is obsessed with the Joker, and it makes no sense.
All three of these videos are uniquely, equally terrible.
I would argue that this video is worse than The Wall. In my opinion. Maybe not, but in terms of thought process and just the shit.
Why are you looking at me like that?
The problem is The Wall took effort, and The Wall was somewhat coherent, even though we'll get to it. But the problem with this Joker theory video is it was just sentences. It's just sentences.
You can tell he just...
And I tried to follow it.
He procrastinated for 5 days, and he's like, shit, I gotta film something. Joker's hot right now. He sat down, rambled for 20 minutes, and then posted with minimal editing.
Yes. And it was a terrible video, and I hate it. And in a lot of ways, this is probably in my top 10 worst Doug videos.
Yeah, it's up there.
It might be like this is up there with like Hocus Pocus and most like incoherent Doug videos. It's like doesn't even seem like a human came up with it.
The Hocus Pocus video is still baffling. It's a good one.
I still think. Okay, we'll get to this hot take.
Anyway,
but all right, The Wall.
Before we introduce that, I need a vape break. This is for this insanity. The insanity of
I mean, we're basically just gonna do a full drunk view on the wall within this video.
Yes, I know. That's why I want to take a break. It's
Alright,
time.
next is The Wall, the one that everybody wanted to see.
The long-awaited film.
The Wall is up there with To Boldly Flee as a famously bad Doug project. And you know, watching through every Doug project, this is bad. It's terrible, in fact, but it's unique. At the end of The Wall, just to prelude this, I literally sat there and I had no words, dude. I was exhausted. In a lot of ways, it was an emotional experience like nothing Doug had ever put me through. I didn't understand. And I'm not saying this
time seeing The Wall.
I'm not saying this to sell up The Wall as it wasn't anything I imagined. It wasn't like I imagined it, but it was really fucking something. That's all I can say afterwards, because
a horrific ego trip monstrosity.
I don't even think it's the worst Doug video I've ever seen. Like, a lot of people are like, you'll see The Wall and think it's the worst thing. I still think like Hocus Pocus is worse in ways the Joker video is worse.
All three of them.
There's a lot of stuff I've seen from Doug that is this is the ego trip beyond mad, but on top of that, it's just everything about it's baffling.
The Wall legitimately is the closest Doug has come to making another movie in
It's avant-garde.
years. It feels it's like the bastard offspring of demo reel episode 1 and To Boldly Flee mashed into a music video.
It's like the demo reel episodes that were good but really bad. It wasn't even like the early demo reel where it was cringy skits. It was like some weird avant-garde art piece that just made no fucking sense at all. And it just had me fucking baffled, cringing start to finish, but also confused. And there's parts of it, it's like
roller
artistic.
coaster.
It's a roller coaster. I suppose, like, so you got that dude from Slipknot and his son,
Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and his son show up.
And his son show up, and his son is Corey Taylor as a young man,
but he's also Doug
as a young man.
And Corey Taylor plays Doug, but also Corey Taylor.
And Corey Taylor and Doug are formed together.
And the entire thing is a semi-recreation of The Wall, where he re-records every song from The Wall and recreates The Wall movie in the worst way, in ways that show Doug cannot comprehend The Wall, which is an incredibly straightforward concept album.
Yeah. I mean, it takes, you know, it's definitely not the hardest to understand concept album.
He turns,
but Doug doesn't understand.
Yeah,
it's like
every
it's so
element.
edgy that they're doing like World War II, and it's like, yeah, but the father of one of the members of Pink Floyd died in World War II. That's the concept of the album.
Yeah, and he.
And
another brick in the wall.
Song.
Another brick in the wall is a song about conformity, and Doug takes it at very literal face value.
He just
and
hears,
he's like,
"Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone."
He's like,
5 times.
I really hate high school, and he's like, my teachers give me candy, but they're still mean. Like, Doug has just a fundamental misunderstanding of a song that is incredibly obvious.
The lyrics spell it out, you know? There's the, hey teacher, leave those kids alone, but most of it is, we don't need no thought control. You know? It's very...
And he rips all the imagery from the wall.
The cell phone song.
Where the wall... yeah,
instead of the hammers, the cell phones are walking, and then he just takes the hammers later.
Yes, phone bad, but then the hammers show up later.
And there's
he steals all the imagery from the wall, but he makes it in terrible low-budget CGI.
Yeah.
And then midway through, the thing goes completely off the goddamn rails.
Well, he needed somebody to do the art, but then that person wanted the payback.
Yes, there's this
furry animal's got a fucked up.
There's this fucking guy who makes this edgy furry series called Satellite City. Deadwing Dork has a video about Satellite City. The guy claims he's not a furry. He's obviously a furry. It's a fucking edgy furry show where furries with gigantic hips and titties and asses go around fucking and killing each other in terrible CGI, and they all look fucking freakish. And that guy did all the animation for this on the insistence that his OCs get to be in the video. And so this fucking talking red cat thing
becomes like Alice in Wonderland, where Corey Taylor / Doug / Jamie Taylor or whatever version, Doug goes in and gets raped by a furry.
Yeah, this red cat thing is like threatening to rape Doug.
Fucking children do it. It's hard to turn those ideas into thinking, feeling characters and worlds, and isn't that the point of a cinematic adaptation?
There's this cowgirl thing that has like fur all over it and gigantic titties and hips.
Constantly at it being lazy.
And the guy's like standing in the corner, like just like proclaiming that he's not a furry while this thing's like humping on Doug. And Doug's in like this giant gear room, and there's like a blue dragon that has like a giant blue dragon cock just like fucking.
This film's not bound by characters, it's a visual affair.
A thing in front of Doug, and this goes on for like half the video. Like half the video is just this guy's OC singing terrible renditions of Pink Floyd songs to Doug, while Doug awkwardly like just. He filmed himself in a green screen and Star Wars Episode 2 style, didn't know what he was looking at because the effects weren't done.
Standing
so
there,
Doug will just stand there blankly and occasionally like look around or like, do this. And then the phone bad song where the phones where the marching hammers come and the planes come.
Yeah,
and he's complaining about how the World War II imagery is edgy.
Even though all that's, you know. It also kind of had that, like, you know, like, you remember All Eyes on Me, the Tupac Lifetime movie that came to theaters?
Yes, I do.
It reminded me of that in the way where I was listening to this, and I was like, I actually want to listen to Pink Floyd's The Wall now so I can wash out the horrible renditions. Doug's a bad singer.
Yes.
I also like when Doug, like, makes fun, and I don't think he does in this video at all, but there's other videos where he, like, makes fun of people singing. He's like, they can't sing. It's like, Doug, you know, if you sing once and it was bad, it's like a joke in a video, but the irony kind of wears off when you sing like 15 times a
Probably
season.
the most ironic part is in the middle where he talks about how the Wall video that he made is a love letter to Pink Floyd's The Wall when...
Hey, you guys like the music in this review? Well, believe it or not, there's an album of it. I'm not even kidding. This was done by Rob Scallon, who appears in the review. He has his own YouTube channel. He's just this incredible talent, and I really think he outdid himself with this because this is just such a love letter to Pink Floyd's music and The Wall. And you can download the album in the link below. There's even songs and music that isn't in the review. It's only for the album, and it's really fantastic stuff. So go check it out, man.
The entire video is him misunderstanding The Wall and calling it a shitty, pretentious piece of garbage the whole time.
It is a shitty, pretentious piece of garbage, but I like it.
And then, at the end, in perhaps Doug's most bizarrely self-aware yet unself-aware moment, Corey Taylor walks up to Doug and says,
"You don't want me to sing
Isn't this supposed to be a review?" And Doug says, yeah, but the movie ended on an open-ended note, so doesn't it make sense for the review to? And then Corey Taylor says no, and Doug says, I thought the movie was fine.
Bye.
But that's it? We're stopping there?
Well, yeah, the movie did.
I didn't even get a line. Hell, I didn't even sing a song. What'd you even think of the movie?
Well, the movie ended on such an open vagueness that only makes sense that the review end on such an open vagueness.
It's a review! That's literally the opposite of what that is!
Okay! I liked it fine.
Yeah, me too.
A little full of itself, but good music and imagination.
Fair enough.
That's it. That's the only element of review in the thing. That's the only time
it's not a review.
He talks about the movie in any sense besides just recreating the songs horribly while shilling it on iTunes.
I thought that was a pretty epic. I thought that was a pretty epic dab on Doug because it's like that's true. That's
It's
what
true
everyone's
every
questioning. I've questioned that about Doug many times, and the thing is, it is true about every video. Doug literally like. Watching like Zombie Island in this season, you really feel the formula where he tries to make jokes, but he can't really make a good joke, and then he says, "Daphne and Velma go off and
do lesbians,"
and then they're like, Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby make it to the kitchen where they have a spooky encounter, and then he shows a clip of the movie and then says, meanwhile, Fred is over here trying to solve the mystery. And that's Doug's review style. It's not a review.
And then to end it all off.
Well, wait, let's... Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
To end it all off.
Corey Taylor says, what?
Corey Taylor says, you brought me out here. Do you want me to play a song? And Doug says, yes. We want you to play the most epic song.
Well, at this point, too, you're just recovering from what you saw. You're like, okay, so it's basically
you're still reeling from the furry Alice in Wonderland wall.
Right,
cell
you're
phone
trying to recover from what you just
You're in
witnessed.
shock. You're in physical and mental shock.
Like,
emotional.
I was physically confused at what I was watching. I was sitting there baffled. And then Corey Taylor plays the SpongeBob song and they all sing SpongeBob, and
yep, every single,
they just play a cover.
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Orange and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Ethical nonsense be something you wish.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Jump on the deck and float like a fish.
SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants!
Good?
I mean, it's not going to top that.
Check out the album!
Everyone's there. Cinema Snob shows up to sing SpongeBob alongside them for no reason.
Well, he was there for like 25 seconds earlier in the video.
Yeah, and then he shows up because he wanted to meet Corey Taylor, and they all sing SpongeBob together while
presumably
Corey Taylor plays the guitar.
I'd assume Cinema Snob had to film this weekly video for like 2 days there, and then he's just like, okay, I'll just do this with you guys because I'm not gonna be able to film while you guys are screaming SpongeBob
And it's all
like
just
a retard.
Corey Taylor wanted to be a good dad and
get his son in the nostalgia
his
critic.
son's a big nostalgia critic fan. He took one for the team so that he could go back on the road and fuck some groupies while his cringy little kid got to be on the nostalgia critic.
Yeah. Was it worth it?
Was it worth it? Perhaps.
Yeah. A lot of people probably want us to say like The Wall is the worst Doug video, but I won't say that. I still maintain the Hocus Pocus review is Doug's worst video. This was probably the most baffling. Like I said, it's very avant-garde. I expect in the next 10 to 15 years, once this goes down in history and people can look back at Doug Walker's work, we will see a $40 Criterion Collection release of this epic picture.
It's like the anti-demo reel.
It's Doug's Eraserhead, bro.
Demo reel.
Doug's Eraserhead.
Demo reel was like Doug's ego death, where he realized he could fuck up.
And this was Doug's ego.
And this was Doug's ego reinflation, where he decided, no, I actually can't fuck up.
That's the funny thing, is after season 4, when Doug, or 5, when Doug went on to demo reel, Doug's ego was killed, you know? He's like, it was an ego death. And then the funny thing is, now Doug has had more seasons unchecked since the failure of demo reel. You know, he was humble in season 6. Season 7, he started getting back in the routine. By season 12, he hit God tier, as Doug would probably say, over 9,000. He went over 9,000 in terms of ego. And Doug just made this avant-garde film that made absolutely no fucking sense. I mean, Doug clearly thinks he can do no wrong, because he made that fucking Joker video after The Wall. Bro, this is a 52 episode, 1 a week, no fucking breaks. Even after fucking his fucking failure that is The Wall happened. And Doug never took a second to reel about that. He literally made 52 episodes this season. Each one, I would say the average episode length in this season is 30 minutes.
Probably about that, yeah.
Because there's only a couple episodes. It was felt merciful when an episode fell under 30 minutes. There were a couple 20 minutes in there, but the season was long. Everything was long.
Santa Claus 3 is like 45 minutes.
Right, the fact that this man was putting out 45-minute videos every week, it was baffling. He had grown somewhere far beyond. See, it was smart at first when he came back, when he's like, okay, I'll do the shitty video essays, even though a lot of times it was just him talking bullshit. and then like one episode that was 45 minutes. That made sense. This was everything was 45 minutes, and when he did finally do a video essay, it's the worst, most jumbled crap ever, and Doug just put it out and didn't care how bad it was.
Even
It
compared
didn't
to
matter,
like,
and this was after like turning off the channel and shit. It didn't. Doug was beyond giving a fuck. Doug is just actually
like,
at maximum ego.
even the other like even like the other avant-garde videos, like his fucking Moulin Rouge video, where it's just like a horrific musical, don't even compare to this. The only thing that's on the same level as The Wall, like realistically, the only two things on the same level as The Wall, it's The Wall, To Boldly Flee, and Hocus Pocus are the three most baffling
Suburban
works.
Nights and fucking Suburban Nights is Kick-Assia.
Kick-Assia and Suburban Nights. You know, Suburban Nights was an ego trip, but To Boldly Flee is... Doug made a 3.5-hour movie about his own character dying and then brought him back a year later.
Yeah.
There's something on... It's on the same level.
See, I don't even think... I think Hocus Pocus is his worst video still. But To Boldly Flee is on... Or fucking... The Wall is on To Boldly Flee's level with something so bafflingly bad that if Doug listened to anybody's advice and just realized, maybe this is a little much.
Hocus Pocus...
Maybe he could have reeled it in.
Hocus Pocus is just insanity. I don't understand Hocus Pocus. I understand this. It's terrible, but I understand
Hocus Pocus wasn't even an ego trip. He was just trying to get on that remake crap he was doing. I mean,
Hocus
Pocus is terrible. And there's a lot of terrible videos Doug's done. I mean, like the top 11 fuck ups. Those are always awful.
I miss those.
There's a lot of terrible Doug videos. I don't feel comfortable calling The Wall the worst Doug video, but after seeing so many Doug videos, I don't even know. I mean, it really depends what scale I'm looking at, even, because there's some Doug episodes where I'm like, okay, realistically, like the Joker, realistically, there's probably a much worse technically done video, because what he was saying is gibberish that made no sense, but The Wall is just...
It's impressive.
A lot of
There's
ways
a lot of
beyond
effort. A lot of impressive effort got
And the
into
fact
The Wall.
that any other YouTuber would have said, okay, I'm going to probably take like a few weeks off. Like I'm going to... How the fuck, even with the crew that Doug has, how is he able to make 52 videos in 52 weeks, averaging out at a half hour, and still have time to make The Wall?
To develop a full album of remakes of Pink Floyd music? Well,
I mean, I assume The Wall was in the making for a long time. There's no way they were getting the album, the CGI, and everything filmed. But he probably did The Wall in a month.
I'm sure. I don't know.
Which you got to imagine is pretty impressive. Because you could tell that was the only time, like around The Wall, like those 3 videos coming up to it were like 20 minutes. But then it was back, next week he was back to his 40-minute video grind. Like... Impressive. Baffling.
The long season.
This is a lot of shit to say. Yeah, this season took us forever for a lot of reasons. I fucking moved. We left town for some family events and shit, so it took us a very long time. But also keep in mind, every episode is 40 minutes. 52 episodes. This is one of the only seasons we didn't take a single week off. So this season just felt like forever. With that said, season 13 also looks pretty hellish. This is an interesting season because we've watched it develop from the start. I remember each episode of this season coming out as we were doing our show. We still have to do our catch-up because Doug fucked up and put a bunch of videos off the playlist. Some of them got deleted because he nuked them. They need to be re-uploaded because he did it with some channel not so awesome folks. So there's a handful of those.
Yep, and then Pop Quiz Hot Shots.
Yeah, we're going to do Pop Quiz Hot Shots with those. And then by the time that's over, we're going to do season 13. And then we're going to take a year off from Doug, hopefully. We'll have time. We'll have time away from Doug unless he makes some sort of movie we need to review or something, which
wouldn't doubt.
Wouldn't shock me. At least he doesn't have like At least Channel Awesome's dead, so he can't do it unless him, Cinema Snob, and Larry Bundy
flies out.
Larry Bundy flies from Australia or whatever and teams up with fucking Doug and Cinema Snob to make a movie.
Yeah, when are they bringing back that guy who was
JPEG Man?
The JPEG Man, that's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
When are they bringing Jew Wario back?
R.I.P. Jew Wario, you're my favorite sexual assaulting rapist out there. Alright guys, we'll see you at probably Pop Quiz Hot Shot first and catch up. And then season 13 is ready. I really hoped we'd outrun it, but I'm surprised we're this far, but also hoped we finished earlier so that we wouldn't have to do season 13 right away, but evidently that's where we're at, so.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Buddy.